The Arizona desert burned under the midday sun, wind carrying dust through the dry canyons. The year was 1875, and the Apache tribe of White Mesa had not seen a man in 10 long years. Their warriors had fallen in battles with settlers and soldiers. The few who survived never returned. What remained was a community of women and children, strong, proud, and silent. They hunted, gathered, and defended their land as best they could, but each season without men took its toll. Loneliness had become as familiar as hunger, and hope seemed buried beneath the red soil of the desert. Amara, the daughter of the late chief, stood at the edge of camp, scanning the horizon. She was tall, fierce-eyed, her braids bound with eagle feathers. The elders whispered that she carried her father's spirit. For 10 years she had led her people through drought, sickness, and raids. Yet deep in her heart she knew they needed balance, someone to rebuild what had been lost. Her mother once said, "A tribe without men is a river without water." Those words haunted her each night as she watched the fire die. One evening, as the crimson sun sank behind the mesas, a cry went up from the edge of camp. Children ran toward the plains, pointing. Amara followed, and there, collapsing near the dry riverbed, was a man. His clothes were torn, his skin burned by the sun, his beard thick with dust. He clutched his side, bleeding from a gunshot wound. The women surrounded him cautiously, bows drawn. Amara raised her hand. "He's alone," she said. "Let him breathe." They carried him into a tent, laid him on woven blankets, and tended to his wound. When the stranger awoke, his first sight was of Amara's face, stern, yet kind. "You're safe," she said quietly. "You're in Apache land." His voice was hoarse. "Name's Luke. I didn't mean to trespass." He explained that he had been ambushed by bandits on his way to deliver cattle north. He'd fled, wounded, and wandered for days. Amara studied him closely. The tribe hadn't seen a white man up close in years, especially one this broken. Still, something in his eyes carried no hatred, only exhaustion. Against the tribe's fears, she decided to let him live. The days that followed changed the rhythm of the camp. Luke recovered slowly, helping with chores once his strength returned. He fetched water, repaired tools, and taught the children how to mend saddles. The women watched him carefully, distrust fading little by little. At night he sat by the fire listening to their songs. Though he didn't understand the words, he felt their sorrow. Amara often sat across from him, speaking little but observing everything. Between them grew a quiet understanding, unspoken but powerful, like rain on dry soil. One morning, Luke woke to find Amara teaching the children how to shoot arrows. Her form was flawless, movements fluid as the wind. When she noticed his gaze, she asked, "You ever use a bow, Cowboy?" He smiled faintly. "Not as graceful as that, but I can show you a rifle." That afternoon they traded lessons. She taught him balance and patience. He taught her how to aim through iron sights. Laughter broke through the camp that day for the first time in years. The sound carried far, even the old women smiled. Hope had quietly returned to White Mesa. Weeks passed and the bond between Luke and Amara deepened. He shared stories of the outside world, of towns, trains, and storms of steel that crossed the plains. The women listened, half in awe, half in fear. For them, the world beyond the desert was a place of loss, but Luke spoke of it with wonder, not conquest. "There are still good people out there," he told them. "Just like here." Slowly, trust grew. The tribe began trading with travelers again, guided by Luke's cautious hand. Under Amara's leadership, peace spread across the camp. But not all were pleased. A few of the older women feared that allowing a white man to stay would anger the spirits of their fallen warriors. One night, Amara heard their whispers. "He will bring ruin, as all men have." She walked away silently, but the words pierced her heart. She knew their pain, she carried it too. Yet when she looked at Luke, tending the fire with care, teaching her people survival tricks, she saw not a threat but a chance at rebuilding. "Our tribe needs strength," she murmured to herself, "even if it comes in unexpected form." Then one dawn, riders appeared on the horizon, bandits returning to finish what they'd started. They were armed, rough men who had once hunted Luke. Dust rose behind them like smoke. Luke saw them first, eyes narrowing. "They're here for me," he said. "But they'll take everything if we don't fight." Amara gripped her spear. "Then we fight together." The tribe readied their bows and Luke loaded his rifle. When the bandits reached the valley, arrows flew like rain. Luke fired beside Amara, both standing their ground as the desert echoed with gunfire and war cries. The battle raged for hours. One by one, the attackers fell. When the dust settled, silence returned to the mesa. Amara's arm bled, but she stood tall. Luke's rifle smoked in his hands. The women gathered around them, stunned. They had fought like warriors of old. For the first time in 10 years, victory belonged to the tribe again. That night, they celebrated beneath the stars, drums echoing through the canyon. Luke sat beside Amara, watching the firelight dance in her eyes. "You've got the spirit of 10 men," he said. She smiled. "I had to. We had none left." As months turned to years, Luke stayed. He was no longer a stranger, but part of the tribe. He helped build stronger shelters, tamed horses, and taught the children to read. Amara, once burdened by loneliness, found in him an equal. Not a savior, not an intruder, but a partner. Together they bridged two worlds once divided by hatred. Under their care, the Apache of White Mesa began to thrive again. Traders came to barter peacefully, and travelers spoke of a camp where peace between red and white had finally taken root. Years later, when gray touched both their hair, Amara stood by the river where they had first met. Luke approached quietly, his hand brushing hers. "You gave me a home," he said. She shook her head gently. "No, you gave my people back their faith." He smiled. "Guess we saved each other, huh?" Above them, the sky stretched endless in gold like the promise of tomorrow. The tribe behind them thrived. Children laughing, fires burning bright, women strong and proud once more. In a land once ruled by loss, love had quietly built a new beginning. Long after they were gone, travelers passing through the desert would hear the legend of White Mesa, the tribe that survived 10 years without men, and the cowboy who brought them back to life. Some called it myth, others called it a miracle. But those who found the mesa said they could still hear drums at dusk and laughter carried by the wind, echoing the story of a people who learned that strength wasn't bound by blood, but by courage, trust, and the kindness of one man and one woman who refused to give up on hope.